Okay, so when my dad was younger, he used to go to Marist Brothers in Parramatta, and he was organising the school dance, which was for the year 12s, but he was in year 11, and he hired out Oak Hills College, their big main hall for the night, and he got a band that he signed to come and play. And it was, in those days, it was in the 80s, 78 something, and the band was actually AC/DC before they got big. And the story is really, he used to follow them around and he used to do all their light shows, and he got really involved with them at one point, right at the crisis when they were changing managers. And my dad had the opportunity to become their manager, but he decided not to, and he chose to instead settle down with my mum and have me. So that's my story.
So when I was 6 and living in Indonesia, there was a riot kind of in where my neighbourhood was, and it was sparked by racism. And a lot of the houses near my area had like large rocks thrown at them, and a lot of other items that caused the windows and doors and a lot of the roofs to be broken. And I just remember being 6 and not, like, I knew what was going on, but I obviously couldn't comprehend the whole situation, and it was a little bit fun, but we had to turn off all the lights in the house so no one knew we were home, because if they did, then they'd attack the house. So I just remember as a kid, kind of, I lived with my mum, my dad, and one of my sisters, and a maid, and we all just went up to the maid's house, which was at the highest level of the house, and hid there. And I remember as a kid complaining that there was no light, and then kind of got louder, and at one point almost just like scream with this tantrum that I wanted light. So my mother had to get a candle, light it, and kind of kept it as far away from the window or any kind of, so that the house still seemed dark, basically. And I just had that memory. A lot of it's still blurred, but that one vivid memory of the kind of the candle and how badly I just wanted it because I didn't like the silence. But not feeling scared, and looking back now at this age, I can only imagine how scared they were. So it's a bit of a bizarre incident.
So I wanted to tell you about my grandmother. So in her 30s, she had 5 children under the age of 8, and she decided to run off with a famous composer, an English composer. So she adopted out the 2 younger children, left the others with their father, and took off to London. And there she had the high life. There was lots of dinner parties, extravagant sort of evenings, and I remember her telling me of times they'd travelled to America and there was dinner parties with Woody Allen and, you know, lots of extravagances. And after a little while she returned to London as the dinner parties sort of began to wind down. She wound up managing a rock band for a while called the Eagles, and she wore leathers, drove a tour bus around the whole of Europe, I think. And that sort of dwindled down. She wound up taking up some time opening a vegetarian restaurant in Covent Garden. I think that was probably about the 70s, I think, maybe even a little bit earlier. And she then returned back to Australia eventually to sort of die a very quiet life with lots of stories to tell.